So here's the dirt. As I'm heading into the ranch here, I figured it's a good time to film our intro for this video. Before we get into kind of talking about what's going to be in this footage, wanted to make sure everybody knows that there is no mountain biking in this. So if you tune in to watch trail videos, to see Logan's progression on the mountain bike, there's none of that in this one. This simply is a trail building video. It'll probably end up being a little bit longer, and for most viewers, honestly, a little bit slow. If you like to build trails, there's probably some stuff in here that you'll find very interesting. So just wanted to make sure those people that aren't here to watch the process of making a trail can go ahead and click out. The reason I'm walking into the ranch right now, so the ranch is like 3 properties from the main road, and we have an easement, which is the road I'm walking on right now, through those properties. And everybody's very cordial up here, and everybody kind of helps out each other, so it's always a good situation. But walking in because of the crazy storms that California's had over the last month and a half, have not only, you know, done damaged trails and made work for trail builders all around, but it damaged the dirt roads as well. So there's a section of road up here that really is only passable by 4-wheel drive. So here I am, since I don't have 4-wheel drive on the van, hoofing it in. And that's only about a mile walk, and it's a really amazing day right now. So it's really no skin off my back, to be honest. As I pass it, I'll show you the spot that is the issue. But we're kind of working on getting that resolved. My aunt bought a whole bunch of large gravel and some pressure treated wood, and my cousin and I kind of are trying to design and lay down some passable and drainable areas on the road. So as you can see, water is flowing everywhere, all right, which is beautiful and amazing. All right, and then up here on the hill here, we've got our the neighbors have a herd of alpacas that you can see. They are just growing back their coats after having been trimmed. Usually they're even a little bit fluffier than they are now. They're like the smaller, fluffier cousins of llamas, and there's also a herd of llamas on the property. If they're close to the fence when I pass, I'll get them on the footage as well. All right, but anyways, so today, as I said, it's a trail building video. I'm gonna go up and repair damage to specific areas from the rain, and also some damage that came from hogs. If you've watched our other videos, I've shown you some of that damage. And then on those areas I need to work on are kind of on the way to the new build that I'm going to do. So when I get there, I'll dialogue about as I build what's going on. Probably do quite a few time lapses, because even for people who like trail building, watching somebody shovel dirt and pack berms in can get pretty slow and boring. A little bit about the process of building trails. So I'll share as I do it kind of my process when I'm building up here at the ranch. Obviously, I have a very unique situation in that it's land owned by my aunt that she's loves recreation and wants the family to recreate up there, and having a network of trails is neat for the property. And so I have you know, the availability to build what I want in the way that I want as far as trails go. The normal process would be, first you make sure you can build on the land you want to build trails on. So that's, you know, if it's public land, if it's privately owned, there's a lot of work that goes into that. I get to skip that part. Next is you identify your area you want to build, and along with the area that you want to build, kind of the trail, type of trail you want. So are you looking for a cross-country-ish trail? Are you looking for something that's a downhill, trying to hit a bunch of features type trail? And that's really the two kind of spins that the trails up here have, along with a few connectors just to put parts of the trail system together. So today we'll be building a downhillish type trail with a lot of features. And so my process when I'm actually getting into like the building of a trail, I've identified generally where I want it, is I'll walk, in this case, up and down the hill that I want to make the trail on. And I just find neat things to ride a bike off of, like whether it's a chunky rock garden, it's a really cool you know, large rock that you can send it off of. There might be something scenic on the way that you want to go by, but in this case it really comes down to me just identifying a lot of neat rock piles and imagining, is that possible to ride a bike through that if it gets a little bit of, you know, tweaking. And then so I do that to start with, and then I go back and then I end up connecting those features, or try to figure out ways to connect those features with a bit of flow, meaning that you don't have to brake, turn your bike at a 90 degrees and pedal to get to the next feature. It kind of, you get to maintain speed. So that's, you know, a big part of designing trails. If you were, again, building public trails, there's some templates on how you do that process. We call it flagging, which is identifying where the trail is going to go, and it's called flagging because a lot of times you'll either put specifically little flags that are on little metal like wire that you can stick in the ground. More often than not, when you're doing mountain biking trails, because you're out in the wilderness, you're not carrying around all that, you have a roll of like brightly colored non-sticky tape, flagging tape, that you can just tie to trees and tie around rocks and things that just show where the line's going to be. That's I mean, that's pretty common, I think, as far as the first step goes. Like I said, I'm looking for features and then connecting those features, and sometimes the connection gets pretty steep. Sometimes the connection between the features flattens out a little bit. You got to pedal. Whereas if you're building a public land, there's some, I don't know if you want to go so far as to call them rules, but some guidelines. The main governing body for mountain biking, IMBA, has a very extensive book, and it goes through good trail building practices, which a lot of it is shedding water, sustainability, identifying which target user groups are going to be on it. Is it a beginner trail? Is it an advanced trail? There's I don't know, it's pretty regimented, and there's almost an equation. So if you're going through that method, which is not a bad method, it's just you don't have as much freedom to kind of like wing it and say, hey, let's try this, see if it works. And if it doesn't, let's rework that trail, which is what I do up here quite a bit. And I mean, and granted, I also don't get the traffic that those other public trails get. So you don't have constant tires from the mountain bikes. You don't have people hiking on them. You don't have equestrians on them. Well, I mean, up here you could get all of those things, but you don't have a steady flow of those. So I can skip all that. So anyways, back to exactly what I'm doing. I flagged the trail already. And some of that, when I say flag the trail, it's not etched in concrete like, hey, this is where it needs to go. It's like, this seems like it will work. So like I said, identify those features. And what I'll do today is I'll go and I'll make all those features. Well, I won't make all those features. I'll make as many as I have the time for, rideable, so that I can actually get on top of the trail, ride the features, and see where the amount of speed that you come out of the feature with, kind of where you're aimed, and how easy it would be to get to the next feature, whether it's going to be a huge build with berms and having to build up with rocks so that you can get around a corner or maintain your speed. That all kind of gets figured out as I make the features rideable, and how much I need to enhance the connection between them. In some cases, it's as easy as, hey, here's this big rock roll, and it lines up, and another 20 yards down the road, there's a gap jump that you line up for, and it's basically just hoeing some grass out of the way and raking it, and you have the trail there that connects it. In most cases, that it doesn't work out that way, so you're having to build a trail, which involves a lot of things like bench cutting, which is when a trail, if your hill is going like this, it's cutting the trail so it's closer to flat. Again, you don't want it completely flat because of, water setting on it. Creating berms, things like that. So there's usually, once you get through like making all the features and you start making the connecting trails, then you've got a bit of work there. And unfortunately that work's a little bit more boring. Making the run out for a big roll rideable is pretty fun. Making the takeoff of a gap jump, that's pretty fun. All that's great. Bench cutting, a couple 100 yards on a hillside is laborious and somewhat boring. But it is part of what, if you're going to build trails, that's part of what you're signing up for. And that's why when you have a local trail building day, it's good to have numbers, because then that laborious work gets spread out between the numbers that you have. I think that's kind of all I've got for you right here while I'm walking. I included a time lapse while I do the outro here, just so nobody thinks that I just talk to the camera all day. For the sake of keeping this video at a reasonable length, I went ahead and took all the footage of starting the new trail in the second segment of this video series. So tune into that if you want to see that. If you want to see all future trail working videos, please subscribe to the channel. And that's the dirt.